Hey guys, welcome back to Sports Talk with Stock, and today I am doing my first in-depth roster breakdown. So I'm going to start off with the Arizona Cardinals. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to cut anything. I'm just going to do a no-cut video. I'm going to get straight into it, and I'll tell you guys how I'm going to do these. So these are where I go into a roster. Today it's going to be the Cardinals, and I'm going to break down their players. I'm going to break down potential stars, potential busts, team MVP, Ps, and what I think their record is going to be and possible other records. And I'm going to do notable players and notable, I guess, whatever, what your team needs to do to win and stuff like that. So I'm just going to hop right into it. I think that Kyla Marie is the future, and no matter what this season brings, that he's going to be a good quarterback in the future. But in order to have a good season, the Arizona Cardinals are going to have to, or Kyler Murray is going to have to take a step of improvement. Kyler Murray is going to have to do really good in his sophomore year to have this Cardinals team to have a playoff record, to have a winning record, and to improve into a go team that is ready to win and ready to strike and threatens other teams like the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. And I think if Kyler Murray has a good year, he has a better year than he had last year, which he had a really good rookie season. He can run Rookie of the Year. And if he has a better season, then this roster is way too good not to win. The passing game, though, in this offense is going to open up big opportunities for Kenyon Drake and the rest of the running back room to have big opportunities, to have big run games, to have big gains, and the more they gain on the ground, the more they're going to have to put up front, which is going to lead to more passing, and it's just a cycle that's going to be really hard to stop, I feel. I really like Kenyon Drake. He's a shifty guy. He just explodes. He gets the ball and he explodes. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't wait. He just goes. He gets the ball and then he shoots through the hole. Chase Edmunds, he's another guy I like. He's a little smaller, he's on the shifty, but he doesn't fall down on the first hit. He fights through it. Benjamin is one of the same type as Edmunds, but he's also a big threat in the passing game, and so is DJ Foster, the other one. He missed all last year with a tear in his ACL, but I think they're going to be a great team in the run game. Their running back room is great, okay? And the biggest headline of the entire NFL offseason in my book, other than Tom Brady, is the addition of Deandre Hopkins. Now, the addition of Deandre Hopkins is really good. It opens up the wide receiver room. It gives players that were maybe not ready for an outside receiving or players who probably should play in the slot more opportunity to play in the slot. And it gives attention to DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to get a lot of double teams. They're going to want to take DeAndre Hopkins out of the game, because if they don't, they're going to toast. They're going to toast your defense, because DeAndre Hopkins is just too good of a wide receiver for that not to happen. That's going to let Larry play in the slot where he's wanted to play, where he's better at this stage in his career. Christian Kirk's going to have less of a burden, I feel. He's going to be able to perform more, and he's going to have less attention too. And Andy Isabella, he's going to be able to run the routes he wants. He's going to be able to run streaks, he's going to be able to run slants, and he's going to be able to run posts. And I'll get into but that's gonna open up a wide receiver battle between Andy Isabella for the fourth wide receiver spot, Andy Isabella, Hakeem Butler, who we didn't see at all last year. He went down with an injury. He broke his hand early on in the season, or in the preseason. And Trent Williams, or Trent Sherfield, my bad. Trent Sherfield. I really like Trent Sherfield. He's a good wide receiver. I'll get more into him later on, though. Also look for a tight end battle with Dan Arnold and Max Williams. And also don't forget about Darrell Daniels. He could be in there too, but I just don't think he's on the same level as those two guys. I'm more favoring Dan Arnold because I feel like the chemistry between Kyla Marie and him just hit off the bat. But Max Williams is another guy. We re-signed him last year, and he is a good threat. He can block and he can run routes too. I think our O-line also could be a top 12 or better if healthy. Even then, I think our backups have maybe just under starter caliber. But they can be good. So if somebody goes down, especially on the tackle position, look for a position battle between Justin Murray and Marcus Gilbert. We didn't see Marcus Gilbert last year at all. He got injured. Justin Murray, though, he was a solid right tackle. We got a better right tackle in the draft, Josh Jones. I'll get into that later, though. Our defense should be good this year, too. It should be a lot improved from last year. I think we did get a lot of better players. We are going to have a lot more consistent rush and pressure, I feel. And it will benefit a lot from an improved offense, too. Our linebacker core can also be one of the best in the game. You got Jordan Hicks, Isaiah Simmons, who is a freak athlete. Jordan Hicks is just a monster tackler. You got Dennis Gardeck, who is also really good, able to get into the right spots at the right time. He can attack the offense. He can attack the gaps. And Evan Weaver, who's just a rookie, but he plays with a lot of heart. And I can see him being really good in our offense. Our weakness on our defense, though, is probably our depth at our corner and people on the defensive line who can create constant pressure. We haven't really seen that other from Chandler Jones, which Chandler Jones is amazing, 19.5 sacks. I think he's going to lead the league in sacks this year. I think Chandler Jones will lead the league in sacks. And possibly, I'm not going to say forced fumbles, but I really think he can. He is crazy good. He had 19 sacks last year. Shaquille Barrett had 19.5. I confused that earlier. But he will lead this league. He has been one of the best, if not the best, pass rusher in the league since he joined the Cardinals. A little underrated, honestly. But other than him, you got to look for a battle between Zach Allen, Michael Dogby, the rookie Rashad Lawrence, and the rookie Lakeith Fatu. I hope I didn't mispronounce his name. But they should all be in a constant rotation, constant battle, and every single one of them, every single down better be busting their butt off to get to the quarterback or to get to the running back or apply pressure to whatever situation, because they should be rested and they should be ready for battle. They also got Jordan Phillips and Corey Peters, who I think are solid starters. They'll have good rotation probably. And then for another edge rusher on the opposite side of the edge rush, I think you got to look for a battle between Hassan Reddick, his 4-year pro, I believe, and Devon Canard, who just signed with the Arizona Cardinals from the Lions. And when Simmons is playing out of position, he'll play slot corner, he'll play safety, he'll play edge rusher, he'll play all those positions because he can do that. He's proven that he can do that. Look for Dennis Gardeck and Evan Weaver making plays. You should look for them when Isaiah Simmons is not in position or Jordan Hicks has to take a break, which I don't think he has to, but just in case, look for those two guys because they really can be impact players. You just got to look out for them. And I think Patrick Peterson is set to have his second best year of his entire career, interceptions wise. Robert Alford should play across from him, not Byron Murphy. It's just a fact. I think Byron Murphy is a slot cornerback, not an outside cornerback. And Robert Alford should really play on the outside with Patrick Peterson on the opposite side. I think Robert Alford could really improve Patrick Peterson's game, or, well, not improve his game, but it can give him more targets where he can shine and maybe pick the ball off more. And then Budda Baker is just an amazing safety. Man, he's just hard hitting. He's no crap about it. Just boom, right in there. He's in your face. He'll lay you out. He's a smaller guy, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He'll just hit you. I think he will lead the Cardinals in forced fumbles if Chandler Jones does not. But the other safety, that's a little bit more of a position battle, but I don't think it's really going to be that much of a competition. I'm looking to see Jalen Thompson at that position. He was a really good plug-in starter last year. He proved that he could play. He was a complimentary fifth-round pick. He proved that he can play. He can start, and he can make tackles, and if they need to, they can rotate with Deandre Thompson. He's another good safety. But look out for Jalen Thompson. He'll be a good player. And now we go a little bit into special teams. I think our punter, Andy Lee, should retire. Last year, he just did not have the same year that he usually has. He's been so good for us in the past, and good for almost every team that he's played. I just think his time is done. Maybe we can go pick up another rookie or somebody, but I don't know. Maybe when the season hits, he'll do awesome, but for right now, I think he should retire. And our kicker, Zane Gallus, he was a really good kicker last year from the left hash. He cannot make a kick from the right hash. So I think he really needs to improve. He needs to take this offseason and just focus on his kicking. Just take the right hash and just kick. All right, just get into a groove with that side of the field. Also keep working on the other side too. But other than that, you're doing great, man. You're a great kicker, and I'm excited for your season next year. And Christian Kirk, I think he should be the punt returner for the team. I think he can be a really good punt returner. Kick returner, I'm not so sure yet. I want to see how that plays out. But Christian Kirk, you should see him at punt returner, especially now that they don't need him as much as wide receiver. I mean, they still need him. He's going to be the starting third wide receiver in my eyes. But I feel like he's not as big as a role now with the addition of Hopkins, so he can play more of that punt returner and maybe possibly kick returner too. Now I'm going to go into who can be a stud this year, who can be an absolute bomb, and I'm not going to include rookies in this list because I think all of them could be studs. I haven't seen them play in the NFL. I haven't really watched their film that much, but they were drafted for a reason, right? So in offense, my number one person who can be a stud, I'm going to go Trent Sherfield, the wide receiver. He can be a great fourth wide receiver. He can make plays out of the slot. He can make contested catches. I've seen him do it, especially in the preseason, man. He had such a good preseason, and I think he just needs to take the step this year and become the starting fourth wide receiver for the Cardinals, and he can blow and will not blow up, but, he will have a really good, steady performance, and just constant, he can catch, he just brings some attention off DeAndre Hopkins, off Larry Fitzgerald, off Kenyon Drake, and all those guys. Number two, I have Dan Arnold, the tight end. He, in my eyes, is the number one tight end in the tight end group, especially because of the chemistry that him and Kyla Marie shown in the last 3 games. He had 2 touchdowns in 3 games with Arizona, and he had about 200 yards, I believe, maybe 150 or something like that. But he seemed like he clicked in our offense. He seemed like he got it, and he understood what what to do. He just really found a groove really fast, and I think he can translate that to next year being even better with the offense and more in groove with the offense. And now number 3, I have Chase Edmunds. I think his good games were against New York and Cincinnati. He had a really good game against New York. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, and against Cincinnati, I think he averaged like 8 yards per carry or something like that. Just a really explosive guy. Doesn't go down on the first hit, and he will fight for yards, and he was injured last year, unfortunately, but I think they were more preserving his strength for this year. He is also a pretty big threat, or not big threat, but he's a threat in the passing game. You can't just forget about him. Okay. Now I'm gonna switch over to defense. Number 1, the biggest stud that I think can just pop out is Jalen Thompson. He is a good hitter, and he proved himself the starter for that strong safety for that other safety position last year, and I think he can force hits. He's an instinctful player, and I think he has what it takes to be a starter over there. Number 2, I think Byron Murphy can be the next stud over there. Playing in more of his natural position of the slot cornerback. I think maybe with attention he's Patrick Peterson taking away their number 1 wide receiver every game, and Robert Alford maybe creating pressure to throw it into the slot to maybe like one of the sloppier wide receivers, or not as good as the 1 or 2 guys, or I think Byron Murphy can really play through that instead of just being trial by fire last year, playing on their number 1 receiver. It was really not the best situation for him last year, but I really hope he learned a lot, and I hope he can improve a lot off of that. And number 3 for my defense is Devon Canard, and this guy, he can be a really good threat on the edge. I think he's going to beat Hassan Reddick out. I think we might cut Hassan Reddick or trade him away. I just don't really see him fitting in our system anymore. It really, if he started off at the position he is at now, then I think he would have been a lot better off than trying to play inside linebacker. But Devon Canard had 7 sacks last season, and the most of the plays, the Lions only rushed 4 or 3 guys. The Lions blitzed the least amount in the NFL. They only blitzed 3% in the NFL. And the Cardinals are one of the most blitz-heavy teams. So I think he should be a really beneficiary off of that. And plus you have Chandler Jones on the other side taking up most of the attention. And you should have constant pressure from Jordan Phillips and Corey Peters and Zach Allen, Lakeith Fatu, Rashad Lawrence, and Michael Dogby in the inside. Whoever is in at that time, of course. And I think I'm going to name off my rookies who can be great and rookies who are going to be good this year. I'm not going to do any okay or or probably a bust because they're rookies. They were drafted for a reason, all right? Somebody saw something in them. For Isaiah Simmons, he can be great. He's an amazing athlete. He has got amazing instincts. He can just plug the hole. He can play any position on the field. And he's a great leader too. For Josh Jones, great. He was a first-round talent that fell to the 3rd round. That's pretty much all I have to say for that. And also, he did fill a hole in our offensive line. Not a hole, but he improved our offensive line. And that really makes us a better team, and it makes us take another step for the season. Lakeith Fatu, I think he'll be a rotational player, but he is a good leader. He was a team captain. He can really fight through those guys. And same with Rashad Lawrence. I think he will be a rotational starter. He was also a team captain. Everybody the Arizona Cardinals drafted last year was a team captain on their team, which is pretty amazing. I think he'll be a rotational pass rusher. He can create constant pressure, and he can really be fresh and ready off the rotation. Evan Weaver, I think he can be good if not great. He is a very emotional player. He plays with his heart. He can just be there. He is not the most athletic. He is basically the opposite of Isaiah Simmons, except he just plays with so much heart, and he's such a good player that way. He had 189 tackles, I believe, last year for Cal. That's amazing. It's unbelievable. It's a big deal to get 120 tackles. It's amazing to get 150 tackles. It's excellent to get 189 tackles. Benjamin, I think he can be good. He'll be a third down guy. Maybe rotate between Chase Edmunds and DJ Foster when Kenyon Drake's not on the field. But he is a threat in the passing game. Don't forget about that. And on third down was his best down at ASU. I am an ASU fan. I got to watch him every single week. Man, he was a monster. He was amazing. I love the dude, and I'm so glad that he's in Arizona still. Now, potential bust for our team. I hate to say this, but I think Deandre Campbell, with the additions of Isaiah Simmons and Evan Weaver, and we already had Dennis Gardeck, I just don't see the need for Deandre Campbell anymore. But he can be a good cover linebacker. He can rotate with Isaiah Simmons when we're playing against the 49ers and guys with good tight ends like the Seahawks when they have Greg Olsen, and the Niners when they have George Kittle. But our biggest problem last year was covering the tight ends on defense. But I think we have that covered this year. I think Isaiah Simmons will do a great job at covering them. I also think Hassan Reddick can be a potential bust, like I said earlier. I just don't see him fitting on this team anymore. He was a really good player, but he should have started on the edge for his entire career. That's all. It's just a bad scheming by the Arizona Cardinals. It was waste by the Arizona Cardinals. It was the Arizona Cardinals' fault that happened, and the switching of the defensive coordinators, the defensive system, it didn't help him at all. But I still have hope for Hassan Reddick. I think he's a fast player. He can get off the edge, and maybe he'll wreak some havoc that way. Maybe he'll be rotational too. I mean, you never know. Christian Kirk is possibly a bust for me. Last year, he only scored 3 touchdowns, or he had a really good game against the Buccaneers, and he scored 3 touchdowns. That was his only 3 touchdowns of the season. I see him making more of an impact now that he has less attention, and he's not the number 2 wide receiver. He's the number 3 wide receiver. He can play on the slot. He can play on the outside. I see him doing better this year, but keep in mind he can be a potential bust. I am not expecting a whole lot out of him. Now, you also have Robert Alford, who's getting older, came off a broken leg. You never know. I see him that he can potentially be another bust for the Arizona Cardinals, but I hope that is not the case because I like Byron Murphy more in the slot than I do any of our other guys, and I don't want to see Byron Murphy back on the outside this season. Now I'm going to go into who I think is going to lead the team in stats. I'm going to start off with passing. I think all passing stats are going to be led by, of course, Kyla Marie. I think quick projecting, I think he's going to have 4,000 or more passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and about 10 interceptions. I'm not going to go into fumbles. I'm not going to do any fumbles for anybody. Rushing, I think, is going to be all Kenyon Drake. I think he's going to have 1,200 plus yards and 8 touchdowns for the season. Also, I think the touchdowns number can also be a lot lower if they rotate their guys in a lot on their other running backs on third down and goal line situations. So that all depends on what they think or what happens in the goal line, and also that depends on how much they're going to pass on the goal line. Maybe 4 of those are receiving touchdowns and he has 4 rushing touchdowns. He's just you can't tell with this offense. Cliff Kingsbury offense is an amazing offense, and I love it, and I'm so happy that I can watch it this season. Now receiving, I think it's going to be Hopkins all the way. I think he's going to have 1,400 plus receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns, and 110 plus receptions. Tackle for losses for the team, I think that's going to be Jordan Phillips with 6. I think he can maybe get past a couple guys, get some pressure, maybe get the running back behind the line, get the receiver behind the line if it's like a reverse or whatever. For total tackles, I see Jordan Hicks leading the team again with 135 forced fumble. Or also for the tackles, look out for Isaiah Simmons and Budda Baker. They can be threat to that title next year. Forced fumbles, I think is going to be Budda Baker. I think he's going to have 5 forced fumbles. He's going to have one heck of a year. Interceptions, I think Patrick Peterson is going to have 5 interceptions. That would be his second best in his career. Team MVP for offense, I'm going to go with Kyla Marie. And defense, I'm going to go Chandler Jones. Also sacks, I think Chandler Jones is going to have 18 to 20 sacks. Look out for him. So now I'm going to go into their records. I did a record simulation, and I did their lowest record, their highest record, and their actual record. For their lowest record, I can see the Cardinals going as low as 5-11. Maybe even lower, but I just feel like 5 games is the minimum that they can win. And 11 is the max they can lose. I just don't, if they lose more than that, then it's complete failure. Something went wrong with Kyla Marie. The team got injured, something like that. A meteor struck the stadium. Their highest record I can see, though, is the 13-3. This is with Kyla Marie lights the league on fire. There's pretty much no injuries. Every player steps up. The rotational guys step up. The star players take it to the next level. You know, just absolutely amazing, you know, season. And then the actual record, I feel they're going to go 10-6, and they're going to be into the playoffs. In conclusion, the Arizona Cardinals will be a playoff team as long as Kyla Marie takes steps forward in his sophomore year. Furthermore, if the correct players step up and injuries are limited, I could see them going 13-3. There are many potential stars and rookies who can step up. An excellent offseason leads to what should be a great year for the Arizona Cardinals as they finally have hope in what has been a rough 5 years in the desert. Now I want to thank you guys for watching. Comment down below the next team you want me to do, and share this video with your friends if you liked it. Hope you guys stay safe. I'll see you guys next time.